Hey, internet friends, it's another episode of Synergy Cafe.
Greetings, internet friends. Welcome to another episode of the Synergy Cafe online show, featuring speaker, entertainer, close-up illusionist, and marketing alchemist, Magic Brad. It's the internet lifestyle show about career, finance, relationships, spirituality, and wellness. We're moving the online chatter over to real-life activity. And now, please welcome your host of Synergy Cafe, Magic Brad.
We're here live and in person. It's the real deal. It's me, Bradley G, the man, the myth, the legend in my own mind. And I'm going to bring up our friend George Monte. He's over in Hawaii. I hope he's safe too, because I haven't even asked him about that, because there's that stuff that happened over there that's horrible. But he's here, and we're going to talk a little bit about shifted perception and can an old dog like me learn new tricks? Because we're living in a new paradigm, aren't we? So let's go get him. Where is he, my friend George?
Hello, everybody. How's it going? Aloha from Hawaii.
It is good. How are things over there in Hawaii? I know it's a big spread out bunch of island masses, but did that affect you at all? You know, some people over there?
Yeah, it's hot over here. Literally and figuratively. There's been a lot of fires over here. And the town, for those that may not know, the town of Lahaina, which is in Maui, which is one island away from me, it's about 150 miles. It's completely devastated and burned out. And it seems to me that what people are getting on the news is just but a sample of what really happened. I think there's a lot more death over there than they're letting on in the news, and there's a lot more corruption that has happened over there, and it's kind of desperately trying to be papered over. So it's a real conundrum.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, it's just news. Why don't you just express that to people rather than? It's weird stuff. There's some reporter I saw he's reporting on it, and some people started doxing him and stuff. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm talking about here.
Okay, yeah.
New world.
Yeah.
It's strange. I know we didn't get a chance to do a show last Monday, but things are happening. Stuff gets in the way, and that's the nice thing about not having a job. You're not expected to show up.
Yeah.
What triggered the topic for me, I shared a little bit with you in the green room before we started here, that how things like the culture and things have changed so much. They've legalized marijuana and things, and the younger generation, it seems like they have no problem using curse words in a business environment. And I even saw a professional organization in the event industry that was using the F word as the title of their topic for their promotion for this upcoming month. And it's kind of weird to me. It's strange. I'm a suit and tie. I mean, I'm from the suit and tie era. I don't do that anymore, but when I do my magic shows, I don't do dropping F-bombs at the key.
Watch this effing thing. Watch this.
Now you effing see it. Now you effing down. Weird. Say the magic word.
Yeah. It gives rise to a whole new, I guess you could change out abracadabra for the F word.
Abracadabra. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. I mean, it's not uncommon to sitting at a stop sign and get a big waft of marijuana, or just the person that's helping you at the store. They got back from their lunch break, and you can just smell it on them. It's kind of it's a different world, jeans and t-shirt as opposed to a business suit.
Yeah, I think it speaks to a couple different parameters. One of which is the idea that instead of relationships, we have connections, and you don't have as much respect for a connection as you do a relationship. And if you look at, I recently read some really interesting ideas about language, and it speaks to what you're saying. 200 years ago, the metaphors we used were all organic, and it talked about the human condition as a part of the world, or we're part of God's creation, but it seemed to be like a human being bared fruit the same way an apple tree bared fruit. But as the Industrial Revolution moved on, we started moving into these mechanistic metaphors. And even before then, when we have like, God as a clockmaker, and all of a sudden the human system became working like a clock, and events happened around the clock. And, if you look back, just over that course of 200 or 300 years, you can see the language changing from organic to mechanistic. And again, we're starting to see these metaphors move in. If you don't have a lot of respect for the organic human being as something greater than a machine, it's very easy to degrade it. If you look back at all the wars, the first things that happens in war is the people be dehumanized. We look at these people like animals, or we take away the humanity so that we can treat them a certain way. In some ways, I think that when we look at this mechanistic worldview, everything's a machine, right? To the singularity, we've taken away our humanity, and it allows us to speak in language that is, defiling, and it allows us to speak in language that is demoralizing, and it allows us to see each other as less than human. So on some level, I kind of think it's been this long path.
It's gone so much to the point where people are starting to allow themselves to be degraded. Like I mentioned before, the term bitch to a woman used to be an insult.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've seen like podcasters, the badass bitch podcast. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. But it's also attention getting. And if you look
It
back
is.
at remember Howard Stern was like a shock jock. There was like the rise of the shock jock. How else do you set yourself aside? If you don't have incredible talent, if you aren't beautiful, or if you aren't in fantastic shape, how do you set yourself aside from all the other people out there? Well, you use language that no one else would use, and people will gravitate towards that. It's that shock factor. Oh, I can't believe they said that. What are they saying? And then they draw you in with it. So on some level, it's a race to the bottom. It's like, let's find the lowest common denominator, but the race to the bottom ultimately leads us all to the bottom, right?
Or just become sludge, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting phenomenon, if you will, because like in the magic world, it used to be one of the, like you probably know, that one of the secrets is don't tell the secret.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the rules of being a magician, is you don't do it twice and you don't expose the secret. And nowadays, I've had conversations with magicians that say that doesn't matter anymore. It's okay to expose it because we'll come up with new stuff, and it sort of forces the magician to be more creative. But they're taking that from a point of view of the magician as opposed to the spectator, where you ruined it for the spectator. It's kind of like giving someone a gift, and I'm sorry, I didn't have time to wrap it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the presents under the trees, but you don't wrap them.
Well, in a weird way, it speaks to this idea of transparency, and people on the bottom, myself included, and everybody wants to know the trick. And whether you're a magician or a politician, the last thing you want to do is show the trick, because once I know the trick, I don't want to see it anymore. It takes away the magic out of the trick once people understand what's happening. And I think that is what's happened throughout our world, is that, we have been led by people that are not very good leaders. We've been led by the wealthiest families in the world, it seems, for a long time. And those who had talent in those families have died, and their kids have taken over, and they're dummies. At least that's my opinion of it. It's a little,
you said that, people want to know the trick. I don't think they really do. Have you ever gone to a movie set and watched a movie being put together? It's a different experience. It's kind of cool because you do see all this stuff. Like I remember there was an episode of Cheers where Woody Harrelson had a bee thing on. It was all a bunch of raisins that were on there. They're all brown raisins that were on this. It wasn't bees. So that's kind of interesting to see that. But it takes all the magic out of the presentation now.
Yeah.
It's like, And I remember going to Universal Studios and seeing where Tarzan was filmed. It was just a small wooded area with palm trees and stuff. And they would just move the camera and shoot it from different angles, where the lion's coming out of the jungle, or Tarzan's coming out of the jungle, or elephants running into the jungle. It's the same 50 by 50 plot of dirt.
Yeah. Well, do you think like, let's say that we continue to move down this path and there's more profanity and more sort of shockingness that comes out. What is the antidote to that? Or is it, if you can't beat them, join them? Or is it, have a stiff upper lip and just put out better content? What do you
Well,
think?
you remember seeing the movie The Matrix,
Yeah.
and you remember the time the guy was eating that steak and he goes, I know this isn't real, but it tastes so good,
Mm-hmm.
because he was experiencing it.
Yeah.
And this can even get into the other topic of hallucinogenics and all that
Yeah.
stuff. You're living in this other world. But imagine if all of a sudden you got that Neuralink hooked up to your brain,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not even another thing there, but you think there is, because your senses feel you touching this beautiful woman, and you're
Mm-hmm.
having a sexual experience, but it's not real. It's not physical, but you think it is, because it's all happening in your head. So is that where we want to go? Or is that where we already are? Maybe we need to get out of it. Wake up.
Yeah. Maybe we've been living in the Matrix and this is waking up.
That's
Maybe all these ideas of like, hey, you go to work for 20 years, you retire, you get a gold watch. Like, for Gen Z and the millennials, like, they all know that's garbage. They're like, that's not going to work. The government's corrupt. The financial system's broken. Like, why would we even go to work? Like, so I think for a while, some of us got to experience the Matrix in its glory. And what you're seeing now is reality. The truth is that the majority of structures that we know that provide security are in fact false paradigms. And when that illusion is lifted, what you're seeing now is, I think the Lahaina, I think the Mauis in fire. I'm sorry. I think that the fires in Maui are a good example of what you're going to continue to see happen throughout the world. You're going to continue to see infrastructure be broken down so it can be rebuilt, because nothing can get done right now because of all the bureaucracy and all the money and all the corruption. You can't put infrastructure anywhere in the world. But I can guarantee you what you see come up in Lahaina is going to be the most elite, incredible smart city you've ever seen. They're just acquiring the property right now. But I think that this is what you're going to see throughout the world, is burn it down and rebuild it. So you're going to see a new Matrix be reborn. And I think that's where we are now.
And a lot of this stuff doesn't just pop in and pop out. It happens gradually, and you don't
Absolutely.
even really notice it. You just see these small fires all over the world.
Right.
And then
Right.
you see these new structures built. Like, they got an old building that's just a big energy suck, and all of a sudden it burns down. They put up a new one that's got a green roof on it and everything, and it's solar powered energy, so it's not sucking petroleum out of the ground and stuff, and
Yeah.
functions off of wind energy and geothermal kind of stuff, and or just pulling the energy out of the universe somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Creative destruction, right? Like, the only way out of chaos comes order.
Right.
I mean, these themes are part of us as human beings. And so whether it's through a natural disaster or it's, hey, let's collect the insurance money, it's going to get burned down, I think.
It is. And just even the small things just aren't happening. Like with my expo that's coming up, it's not at all the same as it used to be, because people don't necessarily respond to an email. They look at it and it either goes in a different folder, or they forget about it, or it triggers a thought where when they get a postcard, that might make them think about it, or they might hear about it from somebody else at a meeting. But there's so many different ways of a person communicating and make a decision. The reality with the event, it's not till September 20th. But as a producer, I'm thinking right now, come on, we got to get this going. I need some vendors, I need some exhibitors.
Yeah.
They might all just come in the week before.
Yeah. Yeah. The attention span, it seems, has really been whittled down to, if you look at the way we consume media, whether it's through a TikTok video or a YouTube short or an Instagram reel, you're looking at about a minute and a half for the long ones, anywhere between 15 to 30 seconds for a short one. So if people are trained to consume media in that fashion, then the thought that they could plan ahead, or have any sort of delayed gratification seems to be sort of whittled down.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the title of this video podcast. It was about an old dog and new tricks, and I'm
Mm,
66, so I'm kind of going through this, and I'm pretty good at acquiring new thoughts on things
right.
and shifting my perception and how I take things in and stuff. But it's weird because the only way that I know how to communicate, other than going knocking on doors, which is very time intensive, and you probably won't get a welcome when you come knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Even a phone call is an interruption. So this
Hmm.
new way is doing it on the internet to communicate. And just to be transparent, I'm getting a little bit lonely, not depressed lonely. But
Right.
it's nice to be able to talk to a human because I go on the internet and nobody's talking to me. I'm just watching them, blah blah blah. Here you
Yeah.
are engaging at least.
Yeah.
You know, we're enjoying a coffee, but I can't share mine with you or vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird feeling right now where I would like to talk with somebody, but I can't connect with them. Even though I'm connected to the entire world, I can't connect with them.
Yeah. Yeah. It brings me, there's a great book. I was just kind of reading. It's called The Disappearance of Rituals, and it's by this Korean philosopher. And, he talks quite a bit about digital communication. He says digital communication is extensive communication. However, it does not establish relationships, only connections. It intentionally abolishes duration in order to drive more consumption. So that's an interesting thought right there. It it intentionally abolishes duration in order to drive more consumption. So, if we put that into practice and talk about, you know, if you don't have a long email, you've stopped duration. That gives people more time to consume. And when it comes to you being on the internet or me being on the internet, I think you have a choice. You can either consume media or you can produce media. And it's much more effective and efficient and better for you as a person if you want to produce it. Try and spend less time consuming. It's hard because it's everywhere, but try to be the producer instead of the consumer. And I think on some level, it helps to alleviate that sense of aloneness, even though we're still on a screen, even though I can't reach out and touch you. At least there is eye contact. At least there is facial expressions. There at least is this sort of semblance of relationship that we know of.
Well, there's the ability to talk over and under each other
Yeah.
and how to raise our voices, and maybe even we could even harmonize and make a different sound together like this.
Yeah.
But just watching someone through this thing or doing the video as a single talking head, there's no connection with it. And that comment you just made from that Korean author, the duration and the consumption, it's kind of like, I don't want to have to send you 20 emails. Why don't you just buy the goddamn thing?
Yeah.
And it's like the consumer's going, I really don't want to buy it, man.
Okay. This brings up a very interesting point. It's not just you that's having trouble in the world of selling or marketing. I think that I think the big producers are having a big problem trying to sell any goods. I think that's why you see so much inflation is that I don't thoroughly understand how the market works, but it seems to me that no one's buying anything. And that's a huge problem for
Well,
a consumer.
not really. I mean,
You don't think
people
so?
buying stuff. We bought coffee, we bought groceries. I took my wife to breakfast yesterday. So people are buying stuff, but
Yeah.
they're not buying it because of your marketing message.
Mm.
We decided where we wanted to go because we'd been there before. We had Huevos Rancheros and we liked it. So we went there.
Yeah, that
We
sounds
didn't
delicious.
sell us on anything. There was no marketing message. We just experienced it and said, hey, that's good. And same thing, we went, she wanted to go to Best Buy to get a new set of headphones. We didn't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
She was just looking at what she wanted to get. I don't need to be sold. I came here to get something.
Yeah.
So the
Well,
whole marketing thing, it's kind of like, stop marketing to me. Just make something available to me and I'll come and get it.
okay, if you apply that strategy to your event coming up, what if people are thinking exactly like you think? Like, stop bothering me, man. I'll just
Well,
show up
they
when I
are.
want to.
They are. I believe they are.
Right. Right.
And I'm not bothering them because I'm just sending out an email and they can choose whether they want to absorb it.
Right.
And some people will unsubscribe, or I'll post something they'll find it on their own.
Yeah.
That's kind of my point. But from my point of view, I'm not getting any engagement or interaction, which makes me depressed.
Mm,
Whereas if they would just comment and go, "Hey, I appreciate it. I'm going to check it out." Now I go,
yeah.
"Oh, cool. You're going to check it out." But if
Yeah.
I put something out there and I don't hear anything from anybody,
Yeah.
I just got to wait.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like yelling it's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. There's no contact. It just goes straight down, or yelling into a canyon, not even an echo coming back sometimes.
Oh, where did you get that term?
It's just pointless, right? Like it's not gonna hit any walls. You get no contact.
Somebody might find a hot dog and go, "Holy shit!" I'm hungry. They go wash
What's
it
this
off.
hot dog doing in a hallway?
That's kind of the truth.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of that stuff on social media too these days. You see things that make no sense,
Mm,
but
yeah.
they're up there for some reason. And if you look at it long enough, all of a sudden something will pop up where you click something and you get on there and they got a picture of a dog, and then the dog does something and you go over here and all of a sudden now I'm buying a new Lexus. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I think a big part, maybe this is what I like to think is happening. And I've read and talked to some people that seem to me to be pretty knowledgeable. And here's what they're telling me is that the old model of marketing, which is, it was the advertisements on television, it was the advertisements on radio. Like both of those have lost market share to the internet. Everything's losing market share to the internet, and everything went to YouTube, and like everyone started watching YouTube, but then all these competitors kind of popped up. And so they've changed the algorithm where, I saw on YouTube, on my YouTube account, there's now a button where I can give YouTube money as an individual creator and they'll promote my video. So the numbers for individual creators have gone really far down because YouTube has decided to adopt the Facebook method of advertising. Now they'll let anybody advertise for $500. They'll guarantee you 300 views. But that means that there's so much more competition out there for the algorithm that if you don't pay money, then the chances of you getting seen are going to be less. I have 30,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, but YouTube promotes me to maybe 100 of them unless I pay them. And so they don't even know that I'm putting out content unless they click that bell. And even then, a percentage of them aren't getting it. And so you're seeing this clampdown on who can advertise because there's such a sea of people out there. And like you had mentioned before, if the money's there for them to do, they should. But I think ultimately what's going to happen is that big businesses and small business are going to start looking for the smaller creators that people listen to, the people that have like a real audience. Hey, this person has 3,000 viewers and they constantly get 500 views. Like that particular niche is going to start getting developed in a way that's never been developed before because it's broken everything down. And now the people at the top, rather than paying $10,000 to get, I don't know, 100,000, I don't know, say 3,000 views, why not just sponsor a smaller creator with a perfect audience of 500 people that are definitely going to a show? At least then you know what you're getting. So I see that particular framework of people, or that niche of people, they call them micropreneurs, and there's a couple of tiers, but it seems like that level of people are the next level of people to have a steady income and really be a niche for marketers to move to.
Where I think it's going to kind of go. This is a theory, and I kind of see it happening that way. Is the whole thing with what the universal basic income,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these platforms, like you'd said, they're turning into pay-to-play platforms,
Right?
And they're going to give the most priority to the person that can pay the most.
Yeah.
So pretty soon, it's just going to be this elite on top. I think that's going to flip around, and people are going to create these platforms like a paid subscription. Now we take you seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to actually show your face. You're going to actually show your residence area where you kind of live, and you're authentic, you're authorized. And now you can start producing content, and we will just pay you. Because you're getting traffic.
Yeah, I wonder about the subscription model because I feel like everybody's already moved to a subscription model. Netflix, Disney, all these people went to subscription models. And if you are a person who can get a subscription model, fantastic. But how many subscriptions can the average person afford to pay?
But here's the difference, though.
Okay.
You're on Netflix, what you're consuming is Netflix content.
That's
I'm
true.
talking about, I've got a Twitter Blue account. Is that what it's called? Twitter Premium or Twitter Blue or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs me like $9 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just go on Twitter and I start tweeting, and I'm starting to make $50 a month. So I'll tweet some more, and now I'm making $200 a month. And pretty soon I'm up to like $3,000 a month, and I'll just keep creating crap on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't think it's that easy. Like, I mean, I think it's pretty difficult to start a Twitter account.
What the heck was that? I lost your voice. Can't hear you. She must have unplugged your cord. Did the cat unplug your... We lost you. I think the cat unplugged your headphones, I think.
Ah! We started talking about tweeting and birds, and my cat jumped up there.
That was it. But you see what I'm saying is it's kind of coming from a different, the money's coming from a different source rather than ad revenue.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
coming from people connecting with each other, and I'm actually sincerely following you, so I'm willing to take. I'm paying my $9 a month membership, and 10 cents of it goes to you because I think you're cool. I want to listen to you.
Yeah, I think that I'm open to explore that model. I thought about maybe doing something that with my podcast, because you can have a subscription podcast as well. And on some level, I guess we have that with like Patreon or Subscribestar.
But I'm saying you can do that on Twitter. You can do a video live on Twitter.
Yeah,
You
but
can
I
do
don't.
it on Facebook. You can do it on LinkedIn. You can do it on YouTube. You can do it on Instagram. You can do all that stuff.
Yeah, it's true, but it's really hard to get people to give you money as a subscription. Like
No, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. But
Right.
if people will subscribe to be able to get decent content. I'm thinking about getting a Twitter subscription.
Mm.
Because now I'm getting real people, whereas opposed to that, before I'd be getting all these, who the hell is this guy? You get all these people because it's free to make a Facebook account.
Yeah,
Create 10 of them.
yeah,
You do one for your cat. What the hell?
yeah, yeah.
But if you're paying $9 a month, you probably respect it a little bit more. But people are just making them more accounts. They got a zillion Gmail addresses. And
I had a Twitter Blue account, but I didn't get any more traction than I did with my free account. Like I got rid of it. Like I'm just paying $9 a month for what?
yeah, but I'm saying I think it's going to evolve differently, where now you're going to actually be paid to create content.
Oh,
Twitter is going to say,
okay,
for your $9 a month, and people really seem to like you, so you're going to get $1 a month because you're creating cool content. And geez, that was really great. We're going to pay you $9 a month, and now you're making more than you're paying. I'm going to create more content.
Yeah, have you seen, like, they have some people now that create content. I got a when I had Twitter Blue, or X Blue now, I guess, they put out an email to people. If you have over like 500 followers and you put out one video a day, sign up to be part of our partner program. And I signed up for it, but I didn't get chosen. But if you sign up for it, then you can ask the people that follow you to donate to you. But I didn't see the spot where Twitter was giving you a percentage of the shares. If they did do that, I think it would be great. I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded, but I just don't see how people starting out are going. I think the market's already saturated, and that if you're starting out today, the only way to really make it is to have a ton of money to start. Like I think you have to start off with between $10,000 and $100,000 in order to make it as an influencer today. Like in order to get up to the top. I just don't see the established platforms letting you in.
What do you do with that? What do you do with that money?
You pay it to YouTube, you pay it to Facebook, you pay it to all these companies, and then they'll push your content. Yeah, I think if you want your content to be seen, you have to pay.
I'm thinking of a different paradigm here.
Okay.
Like, here's an example right here. We got this guy, Facebook user.
Okay.
It says howdy. I think this is my friend Mike Wilkie. I have no idea. But why is it just Facebook user? because he has not given permission to StreamYard and Facebook to put his name on there yet.
Mm.
You know, StreamYard does that. You need to accept that.
Yeah.
Because they're protecting his identity.
Mm.
What if someone says, I don't need my identity protected. This is who I am. And I'm willing to pay you $9 a month to get on your platform and talk about who I am. And then the producer of the platform, I guess it would be Elon Musk, says, geez, people really like what you're doing. You're doing these magic tricks once in a while. We're willing to pay you per view. There you go. It is Mike Wilkie. So he's going to expose himself and let him know that it is Mike Wilkie. I was right. And he's still watching. But you see my point that anybody can create an account. You can get a TikTok account. Mm-hmm. And then if they close your account, you get a new one. If they close that account, you get a new one. So you can be a dick on the internet.
Yeah, you can.
But if you're not a dick and you just be a good person and people like what you're doing, they're going to engage and they're going to participate. And then the platform can say, you're a good user. We appreciate your paid membership. And you're not one of them stalker clone, what do they call them? Trolls.
Right.
You're not one of those people that are just spewing bullshit out all over the place. You're an authentic, genuine, real person. It's almost that credit score thing, the social credit score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I see it going that way. I don't like that idea that if I call someone a jerk, now I can't pump gas in my car.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like if you look up, if I were to type in my name, George Monty, social credit score, you could see there's already companies that are making social credit scores.
Well, that's kind of my point is I was on TikTok a while ago and there was some people on there saying some stuff and I go, you bunch of idiots. And all of a sudden, pretty soon I lost my account. I was suspended.
Man.
Because I was going against their rules.
Yeah.
I'm saying maybe the rules should flip a little bit and you can have an account and hide, but you're hidden. We don't care about you. Mm-hmm. If you're real and authentic and you authorized it and I live in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and this is my real face. I don't got a little cartoon on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm authentic and real. I'm a real human. And now I'm going to try and help people. I'm going to tell jokes. I'm going to do magic tricks. I'm going to give you some good recipes. I'm going to teach you about spirituality. I'm creating good content, not hurting people, not being a jerk. So I want to keep my account. And I'm actually communicating with real people rather than trolls that are just there to, a lot of those people you see on TikTok, they're doing stuff and you think this has got to be like an 8-year-old kid trying to make me say masturbate. He thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
And if he gets kicked off, he just gets a new account. But if you have that blue account, that premium account, that qualified, authentic, genuine, and sincere account, the platform is say, you know what, you're a real human being, and thank you for using our platform and giving us good content, and we're willing to give you a spiff on that. So as you get more views and more likes and shares and comments, and now I'm up to beyond that $10 a month. I'm making $50 a month.
I hear you, but the problem is there's competition there. And people don't
competition right now. The competition is a bunch of bullshit. There's so much.
It's not a bug. It's a feature. Like that's how it's supposed to be. They don't want you or me or anybody that's bringing competition to the people that are getting paid that run the show. I'll give you an example of how it works. This is a trend that I see happening, and I think people can test it and look at it. A while back, on Instagram, when the Barbie movie came out, if you made a video about Barbie, your content would be skyrocketed. I saw accounts that would normally get like 100 views, get like 10,000 views just by putting Barbie into their content. Recently, there's a trend called the Grimace Shake. And it's all these young kids making videos about the Grimace Shake. And they're kind of dark videos, but it doesn't matter. They're making it about the Grimace Shake, which just launched at McDonald's. Okay, so these aren't trends. These are giant corporations paying micro influencers tons of money to promote their product in any way they see fit.
Right.
So it's the smallest people, and they don't even have to have good content. It's just small people, it's like you said, that it's like the guy that goes to Twitter and has an audience of people to listen to. The giant corporations pay them to put out their message. So you can't have an authentic message, but you can be a channel that promotes a big boy's message. And that's the level that's where it is. It's like they've adopted the small influencer to be the marketing team now. But you're not allowed to have original content because that is in direct competition to the messages put out by the large mega corporations. And I don't think, I think there's an active campaign to keep that competition out. I mean, it was the Rockefellers who said the competition is a sin. Like if you and I control the market, we would do everything in our power to make sure there could be no more podcasters with any views. I don't want them. These people are good. They have authentic content. They're good. They're funny. They do magic. Get them the hell out of here. These guys are a threat to our bottom line. And like, there's a lot of money to keep the status quo. But you could make a Grimace Shake. I bet you if you and I, well, we should do this. After we're done with this, you and I should make a Grimace Shake video. And I bet you we get tons of views. See if it works.
I was saying we should do a topic of Barbie does mushrooms.
Yeah. Yes. You know what? Now, maybe we got it. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I'm being too crazy. Maybe I should just incorporate the themes they want me to incorporate, but add stuff I like to it.
But you're saying that someone like Barbie or McDonald's or whatever will pay these influencers money because they've got all these views.
There's websites you go to see what you can go to websites to find out what to make videos about. And then you make those videos and you get views.
I know, but what if I'm just kind of looking at it from a different point of view.
Right.
Would you want to pay, this influencer chick $10,000 a month to do Barbie videos and that stuff? Or would you just like to pay Brad and George $50 because we're drinking these?
Yeah, I think you should pay us $50.
So wouldn't that be a better way of doing it? Because a lot of these influencers, the reason they got so many views is because they got really nice cleavage.
Some pretty girls out there.
And there's lots of perverts watching this cleavage. So they've got 16 million followers. So McDonald's is only selling their stuff and Barbies to the perverts because that's their audience. So there's no marketing alignment.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what if there was genuine, authentic people like you that did a taste test and said, I don't like these. Is it the Grimace malt or what is it?
The Grimace Shake.
I haven't even heard of it. Well, I'm not going to get paid from whoever developed it. Is it McDonald's?
It's McDonald's.
Yeah, they're not going to pay me a dime because I haven't.
Yeah.
I've heard of the Barbie thing. I never played with them, but I've seen other people play with them. I kind of liked it when they, did normal stuff. Now it's weird. Yeah. But those two big corporations, I probably wouldn't get much money out of them. But if you want to talk about like e-bikes and stuff, maybe they'd be willing to kick me down some cash.
Maybe if you had enough viewers. Maybe if I had enough viewers and they want to give you some money.
What if I had one viewer that wanted to buy a bike?
No, they want no part of you.
Why don't they? Who wants to buy a bike?
For what, $100? It would cost them $50 for one person to buy $100. Why not pay the girl with cleavage $10,000 and sell 5,000 bikes?
Because you're not going to sell 5,000 bikes to perverts.
You never know. She might have really big cleavage.
What if I have 10 followers and they all want to buy bikes?
It's still not enough. They're not even going to look at you unless you have like 50,000 to 100,000 followers. It's not worth it to them.
I know, but I think that's a mistake that they're looking at huge numbers that are irrelevant numbers.
Right.
That's my point.
I agree.
I think I told you the story of the girl that had 2 million views on TikTok and then her credit card was declined when she went to pay for her wine. The 2 million views means nothing. Yeah, and most of those videos are staged anyway. Like I constantly see them. Why you see these controversial videos that the victim and the perpetrator are both mic'd? Yeah, I know. Yeah. And why is there always a cameraman convenient?
Yeah. Maybe these questions we're asking are the same questions that are being bantered around in boardrooms. Like, how do you know a person's views aren't bots? Like, there's bot farms. I got over 475 podcast episodes. And if I had 5 different phones and I downloaded each one of those phones, all my episodes every day, that would be say 500 times 5, that'd be 2,500 downloads a day. And I did that for 10 days. It'd be like 25. I could get like 50,000. If I just had enough phones, I could download 50,000 downloads a month, or 100,000
just
a month.
asked me the other day, because most of my videos get 4 views. Here's one with 30 views and with 38 views, 18.7. I've got one that got 19,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
It's my Magic Brad, the authentic me. It's like 30 seconds of me saying I'm real, I'm genuine, I'm here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, in a city called Fridley. It got 19,000 views. Why?
I don't know, because it's authentic.
And they're still not paying me. I'm not getting any phone calls or anything.
Yeah, I had a few with 1 million views, and they didn't.
That's my point. Is the views are irrelevant.
Yeah, views are not. I guess they're not important.
Whereas here we got Mike Wilkie. He was on here watching. I think he's still here. I know him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cartoonist. He does little magic cartoons. And if I had someone on here, I says, "Hey, Mike, what kind of pens and markers and stuff do you use?" And he said, "It's this brand." And I told that brand, "Hey, that's really cool. That's a good brand name." Now that brand should look me up and go, "Holy shit, you're pushing our stuff to Mike Wilkie. He's the one that goes down to Wet Paint and buys those markers. He's a customer."
Okay, here's how it works on that level. I've had when my YouTube hit like over 25,000, I started getting affiliate market programs. Like, and affiliate marketing, like, so that brand of paintbrush or that brand of pen says, "Hey, send all your people to my site, and if they buy this, then I'll give you a percentage." But for me, I had some affiliate marketers, and I would send like a few hundred people a day to this site, but no one bought anything. So what's the point of me making videos and mentioning their name if no one's going to go there and buy anything? Like, I started spending more time making videos for them, and no one was buying anything. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to do it.
That's kind of my point, because now take it away from the pen manufacturer,
okay,
and the affiliate, and put it on Elon Musk and his platform called Twitter.
Okay.
Pen manufacturer should be paying him money, and because I talked about the pen on Elon Musk's platform on my account, Elon should share some of that money with me. Give me $1 or $2. I mean, you got nothing out of it. I want $1 or $2, just because I mentioned it to Mike Wilkie.
Yeah, maybe that's I agree with you, and I think it would be better, but we're not the people selling pens or bikes. Unfortunately, it's the lowest common denominator.
I know, but I think that things are going to change.
I hope so.
And I think the people that are selling pens and bikes are going to go, "Wow, this is much better spent when I'm giving this money to Brad and George, because they're actually talking about what I'm talking about to the right people."
Right.
And Buffy showing her cleavage, talking about, "You should go ride your bicycle."
Here's another avenue too that I've been talking to some people about branding. And there's, in LinkedIn, there's something big called the creator economy. And what you're talking about, you can begin. I think a lot of things begin on LinkedIn. It seems to be a spot where a lot of things get incubated, and there's a lot of ideas, and there's a lot of intelligent people that are creating the new world in which we're going to live. And I think this thing about branding, and especially podcasting, is that there's a incredible young woman named Melissa Kwan, and she started up this tech company called eWebinar. It's a really cool product that people can check out, and recommend you do it. But, she's got, 100,000 followers or something like that. And she has her own company, really smart girl. And she's written these multiple articles that talked about how she drove her company from a startup to $1 million in 6 months. And one of the things she talks about is that she wanted to market her company. And at first she started going to all the regular marketing people, the marketing firms, and they weren't really producing what she wanted. So then she goes, "You know what? I am going to start testing out the podcast market." And she did. but she went to a podcast agent. That podcast agent then found podcasts, took her money for like $6,000, $6,000 for like 3 months. And he put her on like 20 different, or maybe 10 or 15 different podcasts. And she says those podcasts were all very low quality. So I realized I was paying this podcast agent who had deals with these podcasts, and he probably got me on there for free, and he just took the money. So she goes, I could do a better job than that. So she started researching podcasts, and then she went on 50 ones that she found. They were all better quality. And the amount of respect, the amount of eyes, and the amount of contact she got by going on good podcasts like yours and mine was vastly superior than paying a middleman, was vastly superior than going on some big, K Street firm. She found this to be a way better way to do it. So I think that what you're talking about is emerging. She goes on to say that, in her opinion, that this is the future of branding. And it's happening, not through the big companies, but it's happening by word of mouth. So her posting her article on it and getting, 800 views in the first 5 days, it's slowly beginning to catch fire, and you're slowly beginning to see this roll out. So I think that what you said and the trend that you see is really good forecasting, Brad. I think that you're going to begin seeing that. And it might even go without Twitter. It might even go without YouTube. And that's the beauty of it. Maybe those guys are starting to really stress out because they see the small people competing.
Well, what I'm saying is you need these platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a podcast platform instead of a Twitter.
Yeah.
But it might still be Facebook. Like there's these words with you use the word. What was her product called? E-something?
E-webinar.
So about this e-webinar. I just said the word. You just said the word.
Right.
This live stream is on YouTube. It does a transcript of the words we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So she would know that we are talking about her because you mentioned her name.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the e-webinar product. Therefore, as we talk more about this wonderful product and say great things about it,
yes,
the algorithms, the little sentinels that are out crawling the internet are going to go, holy shit, these guys are talking good about my product.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give them $6.
Okay. Yeah, I love it. Now I have a better idea of what you're saying. Yeah.
And
why can't we do that?
You have to give us $6 because she went to Elon Musk and said, I would like to be a premium advertiser and I'm willing to pay you $1,000 a month for it. And then everybody on the internet's talking about this e-webinar thing.
Yeah.
She gets people that are actually talking about it rather than, hey, have you heard of this thing? And they go, I don't know, I've never heard of e-webinar before. You know about it. Now I know about it.
Yeah.
And now Mike Wilkie knows about it.
That's right.
That's more valuable to her than
Yeah.
paying some influencer a bunch of money to go.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's so much better.
That's what I hope is going to change because, I don't know. You're not much of a Musk fan. I think you think he's evil, don't you?
No, I don't know enough about him to know. I think he's more of a Werner von Braun than he is a Nikola Tesla.
Okay. But the platform he's talking about, he says that you're able to text on it, you can talk on it, you can video on it, you can write content on it, and you can put images on it. That's the platform. It's just communication.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are you putting on it? So if I put stuff on there about the e-bike revolution and all the e-bike people are on there going, talk about my bike, talk about my bike, talk about my bike, talk about my bike. I'll talk about all of them.
Yeah.
And I'll try and give you my authentic, real, genuine, sincere review, if you will.
Yeah.
About them.
Yeah.
This e-bike, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
But now that I mentioned it, now we're both going to start getting all sorts of stuff about Barbie and e-bikes and e-webinars on our feeds.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. On some level, I think the holding out for the ad revenue is an outdated model on some level, right?
It is, yes. Look at what advertising is. You do an ad, you do it on, say, the radio.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are listening to the radio that don't give a shit about your product?
The majority.
What if you just narrowed in on the people that did care about your product? Listen to that radio station. What if it was like e-bike radio and they're all e-bike riders? That's a good place to advertise. It's the
It's like an infomercial.
yeah, or like a billboard. What good's that billboard? It's talking about everything, and I don't care about everything. I'm trying to drive right now.
Yeah, it's a good
So
point.
it's shifting a perspective. You know, you can take something ordinary, like the old paradigm of advertising,
Mm-hmm.
and it's new now. Now your advertising is almost instant ROI because you got someone that's either researching the product or ready to buy the product.
Mm.
You ever seen one of
Yeah.
these?
Is it a blindfold?
No, it's not a blindfold. Ready? One.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a rose.
Very nice.
It's a rose. So you can take something normal and change it into something beautiful. And that's what I think is going to shift with this internet thing. If you think about the essence of the internet, just a bunch of words and links.
Right.
And when we're speaking these words, they need to be converted into some kind of digital recognizable format so that other things on the internet can find it.
Yeah.
And if it is a commerce type platform, and if money is still going to be a factor, the people that are producing products and services are going to want people like us to talk about them.
Yeah. Yeah. And they already are. They're just not getting paid. They're putting out their commentary. They're putting out their time.
Well,
It's just not translating into.
See, I've been an advocate of the affiliate marketing model.
Yeah.
And the situation with it is they got these thing called cookies. They're 30, 60, or 90 cookies. And sometimes it's, the first person that lands on the page or the last person that landed on the page. So if you're out and you're trying to sell an e-bike and we're talking about them right now, and here's my link, you click on it, they have to buy that bike in 30 days. And if someone else clicks on the link, now it's a whole new person. If that person does go to buy the bike within 30 days, you're not going to get the commission because someone else clicked on it and kind of interrupted it. So it's hard to fit in that little moving target all the time. The affiliate program I've got has got a lifetime cookie. So if someone opts in, you're connected. Forever. That's how I want it to work. If you send me the lead and they're qualified, you'll get paid. It might be 3 years from now, but you're connected. So I think they're changing on that. We kind of shifted topic a little bit, but it got me out of my depression.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's changing, and it's happening. The rate of change is happening faster than, both the change and the rate of change are quickening. And I do see good things coming because, I would much rather watch intelligent, fun, interesting content than just 20 or 30 seconds of just silliness. It's just feels like it's depressing to watch.
Some of those guys that are trying to make money with those like YouTube videos and all that, they know that they get paid more if a person watches the length of the video.
Yeah.
So they bait you. They say, you got to check this out. I'm going to tell you about it all. And a little bit later, just stick around, watch this.
Yeah.
And then they start doing stuff like pouring pudding on batteries and say, this is going to light up. It's going to be amazing. And they try have you hang on as long as possible and stay with me. This is going to be really good. You're watching this thing for 20 minutes and nothing happens.
Yeah.
So they still got paid, but I'm not fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that's why there's so much depression in the digital age, is that there's all these promises and nothing delivering.
Tons of that. You see it all the time. All these views and things.
Yeah. Yeah. What is what is the goal? If the goal is just to get views, then the content doesn't really matter. And then maybe that's why you see the devolving language. And that's why you see, back to the ideas of the shock campaign, is that content doesn't really matter, but attention does. And so it doesn't matter what kind of filth or pornography or garbage you put up, as long as people are stuck to their screen. That's all that matters. But that's not very good for society. It's not good for relationships. It's not good for the human spirit.
No, it's not. I'm in agreement. I mean, with these political things, you'll see one politician or the other politician, and they'll say something like, this happened and you won't believe what happened after that. That's the headline. And
Yeah.
then when you watch the whole thing, the politician wasn't even in it.
Yeah.
And that's weird. That's kind of like I ordered a hamburger and they bring you a tray and there's nothing on it.
You say, just imagine it. Hey, I'll be right back. It's going to be great. Just stick with me here. And you've already paid for it, but just stick with me because I'm going to bring out something awesome in a minute. But just hold on tight. We'll be right back for you.
Exactly.
What do you think is going to happen with this upcoming campaign? Like, I think that the world is about to have a media circus dropped on them here. Like, we already see it with like indictments over here. This guy's got dementia. Like, there's already like this just incredible chaos. It's beginning to warm up, and we're about to be treated to an incredible media circus, I think.
Well, the whole thing has been about how bad can we make the other person look so that I can maybe get elected.
Yeah.
They're all doing that same finger pointing thing and pushing the other person down so they can feel up. And then there's someone that came in. Have you seen that Vivek Ramaswamy guy?
I have.
He's talking about bringing people together. It doesn't matter what side you're on, or it doesn't matter if Trump's going to jail and stuff. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
The people want to come back together again. So he's doing something to unite the states. And I think that's what people want.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to have to change their ways and quit arguing with each other and figure out how can we live together.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that people are just so tired of the division and the fighting, and it, on some level that's the demoralization campaign, because people that are divided, they stand for nothing.
It is. And that's what they say, divide and conquer.
Yeah.
That's what I believe that TikTok is. I'm not on TikTok now. I think TikTok is a plot to degrade humanity in the United States here.
Yeah. I've read some interesting stuff where they say that, if you look at some of the TikTok videos of these influencers, they're not even coherent words. They're just rambling things, and they get like millions of views. Someone was talking about in China, in some of these TikTok's not allowed to have certain things. They did a survey where the majority of youth in the United States want to be an influencer, and the majority of youth in China want to be like an astronaut or engineer. And if you look at the future, it doesn't bear good for the people that are, taking in garbage.
I heard that the stuff that the TikTok in China is not the same content as the TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you see all these people arguing about abortion rights and trans this, and these girls doing sexy twerking to get onto their OnlyFans channel so they can, these little 12-year-old prostitutes is what they are. And if you can just make money by faking it, or doing some stuff, maybe you'd even really do it. They're making crazy amounts of money, and I think that it's really ruined self-respect, human self-respect.
What does that say about our relationship to money?
I think people don't know what money actually is. To me, on a deep, almost spiritual, my belief of money is it's just a byproduct of energy. So you've got energy in your body, and you say, Brad, I'm going to do this really cool podcast thing, and I think you're really going to like it, and I'm going to charge you $10 for it. So you're taking your energy you put into this podcast and made me an opportunity. And I go, I've got some energy here. I got my $10. I'm going to give it to George. And we exchanged energy, because I did a magic show and I made $10. Now I take my $10 that I used my energy to create, and I passed it on to you, and you exchanged the energy. Whereas some people think that these dollar bill things actually mean something. They don't. They're just paper. They're just notes of perceived value. I think I've mentioned it before. If you had a $100 bill or a glass of water, which would you think is more valuable? And it depends on if you're in the desert or not. Because a $100 bill ain't going to do you nothing in the desert. Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes, as, that same metaphor could be used for people at different stages of their life. Sometimes.
You want me to do it louder?
Yeah. Well, if money could also be looked at as a symbol for security. Or if you have a toothache and you don't have enough money to go to the dentist, all of a sudden that money becomes something more than energy. It becomes a necessity to get rid of pain.
But that's
There's
the
fear
perception of
involved.
it, because the
Sure.
reality is a good-looking girl could probably get a dentist to do the tooth work in exchange for some body work.
Yeah. Yeah. But
There's no money involved.
yeah. And yeah, that's, but there's definitely energy involved. Right.
Exactly. That's what, to me, what money is just a byproduct of energy.
Yeah. I wish more people thought about it like that. I
Because
wish we
you
were
see some
given.
of these guys that have these gold chains and they got stacks of money and these Lamborghinis and all that stuff. And when it really comes down to it, that stuff you can't eat it.
Yeah.
If you're hungry, you can't start eating your gold.
Yeah.
It's not good for you.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Well, George, I think we're fading a little bit. How long have we gone? We've gone for an hour.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah. We're crushing, man.
It looks like Mike's still here. I see a little one right here on my left.
Nice, man. Well,
Mike, you still here, Mike?
he's over there, it seems like. Yeah. So it's, I don't know. Here's one I was talking about on my show a while back, and it has to do with the metaphors and language and the way we think. I kind of think our language is evolving in a way. So if you think about the phonetic alphabet, the Western alphabet, like the A through Z, and the way we're taught to read is kind of the way we're taught to think. So we think about the letter A. A is a letter. A and other letters make up words. Words make up sentences. Sentences make up paragraphs. Paragraphs make up stories. Stories make up pages. Pages make up books. But the way we're taught to begin reading is the way we're taught to begin thinking. And that's such a linear way of learning. Like, okay, I'm a letter in a word, in a sentence, in a paragraph. You're just this small little part of it. And so you're taught at a very early age to think just linear. And when you do that, you kind of erase your ability to imagine things greater than the linear road. I have this problem where I think, more exponential, and it's difficult for sometimes my wife is like, I don't even know what the heck you're talking about, George. I'll jump from here to here to over here to over here. And I've had it happen a lot in my life. People, dude, I don't, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, oh, I'm trying to make a joke on that one. And they're like, what? Why would you do that? I'm like, that's funny. Just think about the connection there. And they're like, oh, I get it. But, it seems to me the people that can break that condition of linear thinking seem to be people that think outside the box, that use their imagination to create a better life, that can see the abstract nature of money. And I think that on some level, the internet, ChatGPT, AI is kind of helping us see ourselves differently. They're helping us with our language. And I think that by anybody who's gone on ChatGPT and had a conversation with it, you can begin to ask it, hey, how could I make this sound better? And if you came to ChatGPT with a paragraph and says, I would like this to sound better. And a lot of kids are doing this. A lot of kids will write their papers with ChatGPT. I need a paper on the Revolutionary War that talks about these 5 things. And then ChatGPT will spit out something for them. But that kid's going to read it. So they have their idea of what they had. Hopefully they've written it down a little bit. They've put it into ChatGPT. ChatGPT has given it back to them in a format that is vastly superior. So in a way, ChatGPT is retraining the kids' minds to think in a different way. It's just that we need the teachers to get on board now. Like I was talking to with a teacher, you shouldn't ban ChatGPT. You should just create another category to grade because all the kids are going to use it. So why not? Like there should never be another boring paper ever written ever in schools. Kids should be using ChatGPT in tandem. And then the teachers could grade it on like, okay, yeah, you figured out how to use ChatGPT, you get an A for that. But it's not original. This is something that I know you use ChatGPT, but there should be another dimension that teachers could grade on. And then that elevates everybody. So we use these AI tools to elevate all of us into a better world. Like we're all going to begin to use language better. What do you think?
My mind's going all over the place on the stuff that you talked about. Because you have a cat.
Yeah.
So when you learn about the alphabet, you learn about A, B, C, A, QRS, T, there's a cat, CAT, that's cat. I know how to spell cat. What the hell's cat? oh, it's this thing right here. It goes meow.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden I decided I'm going to spell it different. I'm going to spell it with a K. You still understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And what if I said, so George, you got any pets?
Yeah.
Meow.
Meow. You got 2 cats.
You got a cat. Oh, you got 2 cats. Meow, meow.
Mm-hmm.
2 cats.
That's right.
I'm not using the language the way that you originally had talked about with the alphabet and stuff. I'm not using sounds, which is more like maybe music.
Yeah. Now you're talking.
To that. So now you got that person using ChatGPT. What if he doesn't even read it? He just gets the thing done. He doesn't want. He just wants to turn the damn stupid paper into the teacher, so he gets his grade.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to go out and he wants to be a veterinarian and take care of cats. I don't want nothing to do with this thing, so I'll just go into ChatGPT and say, write me an essay on blah blah blah, the way it sounds like if Henry Winkler wrote it.
Yeah, maybe like that's what I mean. Maybe you should turn in your paper and then have to give an oral report on it as well. Maybe there should be other dimensions to testing instead of just a real
my
basic
point is
format.
maybe he shouldn't even be in this class.
Mike says cat is actually a shrub from Africa. I think it's pronounced cot. Yeah. Yeah, it's a I think it's a stimulant, Mike. I think you can chew that and get a nice little buzz from it, man. I've never done it, but that's what I've heard. Yeah. It wasn't until the Middle Ages that we even decided to make spelling a thing. That's why Shakespeare's name is in so many different ways, because it didn't matter. Spelling didn't matter. As long as you could pronounce it, everyone knew what you're talking about. Phonetic. So as long as you go meow, meow, I got 2 cats. Maybe we should get back to that. Maybe that's better.
Can you imagine?
I can a little bit. Why? Think about how linear and how specialist language has gotten. You spelled that wrong. You're a dummy. Who cares? You know what it meant. Why does it have to be spelled right? As long as you know what I'm talking about. And
my brother used to spell fish Phiti or Phytti. So it's fish from the physical, PHY, and the TI from fiction.
Yeah.
So it's fish.
You'll create a whole new alphabet. I bet we'd probably get a lot of viewers.
Yeah. If it's a fish, you couldn't use the meow meow thing. You have to do 6. Flip, splash, splash.
Yeah, that's the thing about language, is that language and labels are what create the world. This is a book. This is a piece of paper. Everybody has that, and everybody has the same idea. That's a problem.
Yeah,
yeah, that's what leads us into silly ideas like efficiency and productivity. Productivity and efficiency are creativity stripped of all its magic. Who cares about efficiency? Who cares about productivity? That doesn't matter. What matters is creativity. Or maybe they all matter, but you have to have at least some elements of all of them. If you have creativity without efficiency, you have a dreamer. If you have creativity with production and effectiveness, then you have a business that everybody loves. But if you just have productivity with no creativity, then you get a cheap piece of plastic from China. It's garbage. It's like a trifecta. We need all 3 of them in there. But we're devoid of creativity in the modern world. And I think it's a bug. It's not a bug. It's a feature.
Well, it's interesting. You want to even dissect the word creative. What does that mean? Is creative more artistic, or is it just the ability to create? I'm creative because I created it. I created this cup of coffee.
Yeah. What did you put in there?
So am I creative? I used Caribou, which is a coffee here in Minneapolis.
Okay.
And it's called Obsidian, so it's real rich. My wife really likes that. And I bought 3rd rice milk.
I would say that's artistic.
Yeah.
You've mixed all the colors together.
So I created coffee. And I didn't even look at it. My wife does that. She looks at the color of the coffee when she's adding the milk. I'm look more logical. I'm doing it 1/3.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even the word creative, I don't know that it's really meant the way that like some people say an artist is creative.
Mm-hmm.
What if they don't even paint anything? They just think about it. Are they still got a creative thinker?
Yeah.
Did they create anything other than an image that's just in their own head?
Mm-hmm.
So they're creative?
I think that on some level, you have to translate your vision into reality to be creative, whether it's through words, but you can't just have an idea, not tell anybody about it and be creative.
Right.
Like you have to act it out in some way, whether through actions or words. Like that translation of the creative idea may lead to an artisan.
Like jokes that make you think different. Look what Mike said.
Yeah.
What do you call a fish with no eyes? FSH.
I love it. Still fish. It's a blind fish.
Did you hear what happened to the blind woman that fell in a well?
No, what happened?
She didn't see that well.
There's a do you know the difference between a tribe of I probably shouldn't say this one.
Oh, is it a dirty one?
It's a thinker. It's a thinker. And yeah, I'll have to tell you offline. It's kind of crazy. But there's some interesting ways that we can use language to make people think things that aren't there, right? Like Po Buddy's Nerfect.
What?
Yeah, Po Buddy's Nerfect.
Oh, I
Instead
get
of right, just switching those little one word on the opposite side can make people stop for a minute and think, which is what we want to do.
People used to tell me that I'm a nobody.
People used to tell you that you're a nobody.
Yeah, and then they found out nobody's perfect.
I love it.
Yeah, you ever seen those things where they've got a whole thing written out that everything is all just parts of the word and a lot of letters, but
Yeah.
parts of the word, and you can just read it no problem?
Yeah.
That's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, I think that harkens back to the idea that like how much time are we spending on grammar and stuff like that? Like,
Well,
I don't know. Does that help us think better?
Brother went to bro, and now it's bruh, and now it's, I don't know what they say anymore.
Yeah.
And even the women use it, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be sisters. So, but that goes back to the reason for this podcast, this video, was my brain is having a hard time comprehending this new language. Back when I was a kid, we used to say things were cool, and that word lives on.
Yeah.
Groovy died out. So did the bomb. And what they say, that's sick.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. The bomb and that's sick. That's cool.
Well, probably when you were younger, some of the people didn't know what groovy was. Like in some ways, it's a living language. And what's groovy is that you get to experience the language from all different age groups.
Where did that word come from, groovy?
I think probably a record, maybe. Like you get in the
That's what I
groove.
think too. You're in the groove.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
groovy.
like it. Yeah, you're groovy. You're grooving.
Out of sight and in the groove.
Yeah.
But cool still lives on.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool as ice. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's nice to be cool. Everyone wants to be cool. Sometimes you got to tell people to be cool.
But
Sometimes you actually get cool.
Sometimes they do KEWL.
Cool in the gang.
I don't know.
Cool cigarettes. Those are all with K's.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. It's interesting to see how slang language can go from a word to an idea to like a movement. And it just helps people understand that the world you live in is made of language, and you can change the world around you by changing the language you use. And if that's true, then you can change the way you feel about the world by changing the language. Because the same language you and I talk about, whether we change the C to a K, maybe the internal dialogue that you have can change you from being upset and sad to happy and excited. If you just change the language,
get
right?
Comfortable with that. See if I can pull this up here.
Yeah.
Sure, I can.
Fear, failure, and effing up. Yeah, it's a nice alliteration. It's got a lot of
And
F's
that
in there.
is the subject for the September 16th or September 19th event of Event Planner people.
So is that offensive? Like, do you think that people will find that offensive, or is it just like,
I kind of did.
yeah,
It didn't really have a place in the, like, here's an example. They're starting to use that kind of language, and the MC gets up on the stage and says, "Welcome to the fear of failure and fucking up.
right?
Please welcome bitches and cunts and swinging dicks. We're going to have a wonderful day today. We're having a great lunch and appreciate you coming out." For our first speaker is Andrew Dice Clay. Let's bring him up.
Maybe that would be a good response. I probably a little bit. Like I don't I don't know. Like I could see people standing there listening to it like for a little bit, but if it was all just cuss words, I think that ultimately, people would probably leave. Like I
It's
don't
kind of
I
like
don't
watching
really,
a comedian that just does dick jokes or keeps on saying the F word. That's all he can
yeah.
do. He's not funny. He's just using
Yeah.
this weird language. But what if he is funny and he's using all that language? What if you enjoy this workshop where they're degrading women and talking about male genitalia and you learn something about the event planning world?
Yeah, there was I think Eddie Murphy did a special called Raw, and in that stand-up special, he talked about how when he was a young man, some of his first bits were like about taking a dump or something like that. And then I guess he brought that up because he says, I came on and I was fresh to comedy, and so I didn't have any life experience, so I talk about going to the bathroom. And he goes, after that show, it turns out Bill Cosby's kid had come to see me, had come and watched my show. And he went home and told his dad that all I was talking about was like dropping F-bombs and cussing. So I was really hurt because Bill Cosby called me up and he did a Bill Cosby impression. And he goes like, Bill Cosby called me up and he says, listen, man, you can't go on stage and cuss like this and say these words. He goes, and it made me feel as if all I got up there and said was F this, F that, F that. He goes, that's not what I did. He goes, I had tons of content. It was just that I dropped some F-bombs in between to accentuate the joke. And he goes, so what I did is I called Richard Pryor and I told him. And Richard Pryor told me to tell Bill Cosby, you tell Bill, I said to shut the F up and have a Coke. But like, it's a beautiful comedy bit. But I can understand decorating language with foul language in order to accent the point. And on some level, if that's what that people are doing at your show, I kind of think it's all right. But it would depend on which audience you're playing to. If you just like fear, failure, and effing up is like, those are all three things that kind of go together. Like fear causes failure. Failure causes you to fuck up, and so they all kind of flow together. It's a nice alliteration. So there was some thought put into it. It's not like they're just coming out and just dropping F-bombs, but I do think that it would resonate with different audiences. I think the older the audience that was brought up in a world where you didn't cuss so much, it's definitely gonna be more offended than an audience.
That's where I'm at. I'm 66 and where a lot of these younger people are 25 and 30. So I get that that's probably the new language and the way that people communicate these days. And
yeah, it doesn't mean it's right,
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's right.
No, but it is sort of the new way. Like I mentioned, I think I mentioned, I went to a gift shop and they've got these coffee mugs that have profanity on them. Back in my day, there was a place called Spencer Gifts. I don't know if you have that there.
Yeah, we got Spencer's.
The stuff that was off color like that was in the back of the room and it said adults only on it. Now it's on a regular shelf, the patina store.
Well, you know what? I think it's part and parcel. When I was little, if you went to the Blockbuster, the local video store, they had like a back room with like all the porn movies, but you had to go through these double doors and all this stuff. Now you just pick up your phone and watch porn, So it's not just the language; it's everything in this life. It's almost like all the sacred cows have been slaughtered, and without sacred cows, there's nothing to revere.
Yeah.
Maybe that's God. Maybe there's religions out of the picture. In some ways, I think that the world is thirsting for spirituality. I'm seeing it find its way into companies. I'm seeing it find its way into, The world that I try to live in a lot of the time is the world of psychedelics. And I think that spirituality is a big part of that. And I think you're seeing spirituality play a role in mental illness and people that find spirituality, whether it's through a 12-step program, whether it's through psychedelics, or whether it's through breath work. These people are finding spirituality and it's healing their mental illness, So maybe the pornography, maybe the foul language is a manifestation of mental illness, and we need spirituality back in order to be whole again.
Well, I remember hearing from a guy, maybe you've heard of him, but he used to say that life is empty and meaningless. Isn't that sort of a Buddhist thought? That life is empty and meaningless, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's that, like that F word.
Yeah.
I'm giving meaning to it. Like,
yeah,
it's
true.
Word. It's just a word. Sticks and stones will break my bones. So where's it?
Yeah.
So I've got my own old way of thinking that mom washed my mouth out with soap when I had that using it to title that.
Yeah. 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 And in some ways, like, when the instrument becomes institutionalized, it loses its edge. Whether it's a government, like capitalism one time was a beautiful instrument that carved out ways for people to make a life. But with the institutionalization of the instrument, it became corrupt. The sword that's an instrument does good in battle. But when it becomes a war machine, when the instrument becomes an institution, it gets corrupt. It loses its edge. And so
that's a whole other thing. There's things, if you look at them logically, like if it's illegal to drink and drive, why do they have parking lots at bars? And the stuff like if marijuana is illegal, I mean, why is marijuana illegal? Why would something like the psilocybin, the magic mushroom thing, that's illegal, isn't it?
Federally, it is.
Why is it legal? Or why is it illegal?
Because it can't be institutionalized. Because they can't find a way. This is my opinion. I think that, like, whether it's marijuana or whether it's psilocybin or whether it's any other particular industry, when that industry cannot be centralized, have supply chains brought up about it, and be profitized, then it will not be allowed to flourish. Because if you cannot make money from it and you are the existing paradigm, you don't want it. It's competing with other things. Like, why would we allow psilocybin and marijuana to compete with Pfizer? Like, that's no, we're not going to let that happen. We're going to put it in this little medical cage over here. We will fund experiments to figure out how to extract the enzyme or extract the molecule that does the work. Then we'll patent that and then we'll sell it back to you. Like, that's the only way it's allowed to work. And that's why there's so much, like, that's not just for.
So that law came by probably because of Pfizer lobbyists.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It wasn't the citizens getting together and say, we should put some, who's going to make this illegal? Because these kids are doing mushrooms in the park.
Well, hey, Art Linkletter's daughter jumped out of a window. So therefore we got to shut everything down. Is that what happened? I don't know. I mean, what else was that girl on? What really happened? The girl have mental problems before? I don't know. But there's a big propaganda push for anything that people can't get their arms around. And it's put in a cage and it's set over here. Here's another issue people may or may not know about. Before Kennedy died, we would use the American taxpayer would fund infrastructure projects, and then we would all benefit from that. Like, our tax money would go to benefiting the American people. We would all kick in, we would build we would build giant infrastructures like freeways and all these things. It would go into we would invest in our own country, and then we'd all benefit from that.
Right.
But now what happens is your tax money goes to R&D to build infrastructure for private companies. You're seeing that's why you see the privatization of everything. And that's why you see the money, the life, so much being sucked out of all the communities, because the tax money now goes to grants for private companies. And when they fail, there's zero consequences for private corporations that get funded by the government. There's zero consequences. Privatize the profits, socialize the losses. It doesn't matter. The bigger the risk, the better. because you don't have to pay for anything. There's no risk involved for the people that are the corporations to put it on. All the money comes from the people. And now there's no more infrastructure. There's no more anything because it just gets sucked to the top and everybody gets forgot about, and it's the same model.
Yeah, that's happening here in the real estate area because they're building these condos and retirement homes and senior centers and stuff because they know they're going to need them. But there's nothing to do in this city. Very, very little to do anymore. Everything's just condos and apartments all over the place.
Yeah, because they can.
It's profitable.
They can make money. Yeah, it's profitable. Way profitable than building houses. Why would you build housing tracts in the suburbs when you can build a 25-story building and put everybody in a 400 square foot place and charge the same amount of money for each unit and get a monthly membership fee? It's like, it's all, people have forgotten about why we do things and they're just doing them because it sounds profitable. And that's why it's failing. Like there's no real
easy way to do it.
It's the easy way to do it.
The city where I'm at, they can set, give the rights to a developer, and that developer is going to pay them a monthly or annual rent for the land.
Yeah.
And the city doesn't have to worry about nothing anymore.
It's, being in Hawaii is really interesting because there's 1 million people that live, I think, in Honolulu. And you really get to see the way the sausage is made. We've had this giant, calamity that happened in Lahaina. And the thing about, they have something in Hawaii, it's called the coconut wireless. And that means everybody knows everything. There's not a whole lot of secrets here in Hawaii. Because somebody knows somebody that works at the city, somebody knows somebody that works at the state, somebody knows somebody that works at the electric company, and people talk. And so, it's interesting to see in the papers, like, hey, there was all these huge problems. Like they weren't letting any traffic out of it. Like they had cops that were holding traffic in Lahaina while it was burning down. They wouldn't let any of the cars out. Now, when that story comes out and when it comes out that they failed to shut off the power, the sirens failed to go off, all these questions start being asked to the state. Like, hey, how come you guys didn't shut off all the power? How come there was no water in the fire hydrants? Well, I don't understand. How come you weren't allowed to use the fire hydrants? And those questions, not only do they go to the state, like the people that regulate the electric company, but those questions, they go to the state and the electric company. They go to the independent private companies that were running Lahaina the same time they go to the state. Like, why would that be? Like, why? Like, who's really running things here?
Are they making some of this stuff up?
I don't think so. I mean, I think there's a lot of evidence to support what these claims are making. I mean, you can watch videos of people that were in Lahaina and the cops like, we're not letting anybody out. They're like, why not? It's burning down. And he's like, I have orders. I can't let anybody out. It's like, I don't think that's fake.
I watched a video about the siren thing, and they said that they didn't do the siren because people thought it was for tsunamis. So if they thought it was a tsunami, they would go up into the fire.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of rhetoric out there about why they're saying what happened, and I don't have answers. I don't know.
Why they wouldn't use the fire hydrants is beyond me.
Yeah. It's interesting too that, Amazon, who is really looking at, they've just put or they're trying to put an Amazon facility right here on Oahu, and they're facing a lot of pushback. They just gave $100 million to the cleanup in Lahaina. There's been all kinds of property developers that are frantically trying to get in there, and maybe that's corruption, but I don't think you give somebody $100 million and not expect a favor. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen. Like they're clearly angling for some benefit. Like you just don't do that. And if the government looks so, I don't know, it just makes the government look so bad that like, yeah, why would we want the government suck? Like let's just privatize all of it. And some level, I can't help but think that that's what you're seeing there. But yeah, I don't know. I forgot how I got on that rant, but I did.
Oh. What's really, really sad about that stuff is the dehumanization of people.
Yeah.
That a person is so far away from the residents of the place, they're thinking about this big business we can create. That it doesn't matter if a few people get burned. That's kind
Yeah.
of what they're thinking.
That's exactly what happened, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're so far away from it, like wars and stuff.
Yeah.
We got to protect democracy, so we're gonna go kill a bunch of children in the Ukraine and Russians and Ukrainian kids. They
We've
all-
given like hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. And how much money are we going to give to Lahaina? Like, this is our country, but we're going to give billions, like $100 billion to a foreign country that is corrupt, that our government officials have family offices involved in. You and I are paying for that war over there. What about the people in Lahaina, man?
See,
What about the people in
that's the
Chicago?
stuff that I think you talked about how this stuff is shifting a little bit. That
Yeah.
people that are compassionate say, you know what, we got to help the people of Ukraine because it's a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
And now there's this big fire that's in the United States. Shouldn't we do something here?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. I can't grasp it.
Cognitive dissonance. Like both of those things can't make sense. We can't be nice people and help out strangers, but when our own people are suffering, we just pass them by. Like, that doesn't make any sense until you
No.
start following the money, being like, oh, I see. We're just paying people off. There's
Right.
crime families in charge, and this is their beat over there. Why would you pay? This is losing money.
You better shut up
we're
when you get my YouTube channel shut down.
Yeah, man.
I was worried about getting it shut down by using those curse words, but I think if we start talking about the government corruption, we're going to get it shut down.
I would already be shut down by now. I don't
Actually, I
think.
don't even care anymore. I'm thinking about pitching this thing in the lake.
Yeah. Why? You know what? I think this is what people want to hear on some level. I think it's an interesting conversation. Everything that we've talked about today is vastly more interesting than someone just making strange mouth noises and talking about grimace shakes.
I'm in agreement. I think we did good. So
Me
we
too.
did about an hour and a half.
Oh, nice. You're easy to talk to. Thank you.
Yeah, stimulating conversation. But you kind of made my day. And if you want to stick around, we'll have some other conversation. You can tell me that dirty joke offline.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay, I'm going to sign this off, buddy. Appreciate you taking the time, sharing all your knowledge, wisdom, and your personality too. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me.
Okay, buddy. Peace. Well, that was fun. That was my friend George. He's over there in Hawaii. He knows about all that stuff because of the Coconut Wireless. Remember that song? It's a Coconut Wireless. That was a Captain Kangaroo or something like that over here in the States. Anyways, enough. I'm going to end this podcast, this video thing. If you liked what we said, talked about, give us some likes and comments and shares. Raise the awareness on the internet or send me some money. All right? Bye.